Hi guys, my name is Jessica and this is my first video on YouTube. And in this video I wanted to talk about my transition and about transitioning kind of in general. So essentially I've been transitioning for almost a year now. The first thing that I want to say is actually I didn't realize actually how difficult transitioning is. I got the inspiration to transition and first realized that it could be a potential option for me by watching transitioning timelines here on YouTube. It really was an eye-opener to me and made me realize that it is actually possible to transition successfully, to see actually how much change people can have from the hormones and how it can transform their bodies and their faces, so they can really express themselves as the gender that they identify with. And I really felt that that was something that I wanted to pursue. I guess one thing I didn't realize was how difficult transitioning would be. And I guess I feel like transitioning basically was kind of like an atomic bomb that went off and obliterated my whole entire life. It's been very, very difficult, and it makes me think about Leila Alcorn, just basically because she comes from a similar background to me, very religious background, and she had a lot of problems with getting acceptance from her family, which has been the case with me as well, where I've just started getting some acceptance from family members now. Well, my extended family, I've been getting some acceptance, but for my immediate family, it's just kind of starting to happen a little bit, although there's still a long way to go. Unfortunately for Leela, she's a little bit younger, she didn't get any acceptance, and for her, it seemed to be her best option was to commit suicide, which is horrible. So what I want to say as well, for anybody watching this video, number one, if you feel that you may be trans, what I want to tell you, the first thing is be safe and please don't commit suicide. Like, you got to look at all the options, and there's better options out there than committing suicide. Also, if you are the parents or a sibling or a friend or a co-worker of anybody that you know that says they identify as transgender, please, 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 please support them the best you can. Because I'm going to tell you this, we are transgender, can't be changed. There's nothing that can be changed. We just need acceptance. That's all we need. And then we're going to be happy, thriving individuals. So my transition, it affected everything. Affected, like I said, my family relationships, affected my friendships. Actually, I've changed quite a bit. I didn't realize how much my mind would change and how much my thought process would change. So obviously that's affected those friendships as well. The dynamics are different now, and we're having to figure out, you know, what do these friendships mean now? How do we interact? How can we keep those friendships going? Intimate relationships, definitely. I put everything on hold once I decided I wanted to transition. I put intimate relationships on hold. And the reason why I did that was for many, many years, I was looking for acceptance in relationships. And every time when I talked about being transgender or my partner found I was transgender, everything fell apart. So I decided, why don't I get myself into the position where I'm my true self and I express who I truly am, so the next person I meet will know the real me when they meet me, so I won't have to worry about having a really great relationship and have it destroyed when I reveal actually who I truly am. Work and financially, I've taken a huge beating from being transgender. I've lost a lot of money, and I feel at the moment my career aspects are very limited, although I feel that will change again in time as I continue progressing through my transition. Health also is definitely an issue. Hormones they do take a toll on the body, absolutely. I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in almost a year, and that's one of the things I'm trying to help myself with. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. And I try to eat as healthy as I can, although I do binge sometimes on sweets. So I'm trying to avoid that. But I find every time my hormones change, if I change the dosage, I have a really tough month. I get a lot of headaches, I get a lot of nausea, and my eyes dry out. I just feel really, really horrible. It really takes a big toll on my body, so my body adjusts. In addition, my energy levels have been really affected now that I've blocked off the testosterone and I have estrogen running through my body. I used to have a lot of energy, a lot of get up and go, and now I've lost a little bit of that. So I'm learning how to kind of live my life again and adjust to not having the same level of energy. I've definitely lost my privilege. Obviously, being a male white person, I had a lot of privilege in my life, lucky for me. And I also felt very safe. I didn't feel like I would have too many problems in my life, which was quite nice as well. And a big part of my life as well was actually traveling. I did a lot of traveling. I've lived in a number of different countries. One of the countries I lived in the Middle East, I still have friends there, and I can't even go back and visit them. And there's other countries that I visited, which I really enjoyed, and either I can't go back because I'm not allowed to, because I'm trans, or I feel that I won't have the level of safety that I need when going there. So that's tough because my whole life, travel has been a really huge part of it, and I feel that that's changed now, that's been curtailed a bit. I've also had depression and mental health issues this year. I've had a couple instances where I've totally broken down. Once for a whole weekend, I just couldn't stop crying. And I've also had, some other days. I felt like, I was just going to crack. Luckily, I've got a good support system. That's one thing I'm going to say right away. Have a good support network. Have a good support system, okay? That's really, really, really important because that will make a big, big difference in your life. I'm going to say as well, sometimes people bash transgender people and they say, oh yeah, trans people have such a high suicide rate. Like they make it sound like it's because of us being who we are, being transgender, why we commit suicide at a high rate. I find in my experience, yes, my thought process has changed a bit. Yes, it's taken time to adjust. I mean, I closed down my old Facebook page yesterday, and it was really strange looking at my life. I basically got all the pictures and uploaded onto my tablet so I wouldn't lose them. But looking at my life and actually looking at myself as a third person was such a strange thing. And actually when I do look at pictures of myself before, I do actually look at myself as a third person. And that is really weird. But I find a lot of the depression, mental health issues actually coming from all the stress pushed on me by society. People not accepting me. People not letting me go to the bathroom when I go to the bathroom. People threatening my safety. Having issues with getting work. I used to manage a really big store, and I went to a similar store, same kind of outfit, and essentially they wouldn't even hire me for a job on the floor. All in all, though, the one thing I do have to say, I'm extremely happy that I transitioned. And there's a bunch of reasons, but essentially, I mean, all my life I've struggled with cross-dressing. I can remember even from being at a very young age. But because I was brought up in a religious family, I knew it wasn't accepted. And also, I was taught a lot of transphobia and homophobia, and I internalized that. So I was fighting against myself. I was always trying to, quote unquote, fix myself, that basically being transgender was a problem instead of accepting myself. And it meant that I would purge. I would go out and buy lots of clothes and makeup, and I would dress in secret and private because I was taught that it was something to be ashamed of and something I needed to hide. And I would do that for 3-4 weeks or a month or 2 months, and then I would throw everything out. And then for as long as I could, I'd try not to to cross-dress again. I would try as much as I could, and eventually I'd crack. And again, I would buy all the clothes, makeup, etc. And this would go over and over. So besides being very expensive, the other issue was really, really hard on me mentally and emotionally, because it would really bring me to like really, really lows where I was extremely depressed. Like, I can't fix this, but I'm trying to fix this and there's something wrong with me. Well, actually there's nothing wrong with me. The only thing wrong was that basically I was taught not to accept myself. That's actually what was wrong. So I went on and on and on, trying to play this role, trying to fit into this image that everybody had around me. I'm one of the boys, and I chase girls, and I always have a pretty girlfriend, and I'm going to the gym and working out, and I play lots of sports, and blah, blah, blah. But what I found was I had a lot of broken relationships because I wasn't my true self. Nobody really knew who I was. I couldn't fully open up about who I truly was. And I had really, really poor self-esteem. I basically felt like a fraud. I mean, I remember one time driving up the mountains in Europe, I was based on a snowboard trip, going snowboarding for the day with friends. I was so excited to go snowboarding, but I was sitting in the car and it just came across my mind, what if my friends knew who like I really am? They probably wouldn't even like me. And that was really difficult. That really killed my self-esteem. And when I was in relationships, eventually the person I was in the relationship, they would find out that I was cross-dressing, or I would tell them, and every time it would be the same. First they would laugh because they wouldn't believe it. They thought it was a joke, which, obviously having people laugh is problematic. It's not healthy. But on top of that, then eventually things would break down and I'd lose the relationship. And so it was a really, really difficult cycle. I kept going in circles and circles and circles and circles and circles. And actually, I went to a Halloween party a few years ago in England, in London, when I was living there. And one of my friends decided to go as one of the Spice Girls. So I decided that I would go as Pat Benatar, and that's aging me, by the way. She's from the 80s, so a lot of you young folks won't know who she is, but she's an awesome Canadian rock star from the 80s. I didn't look very good, but you know what? I got to go expressing the gender I truly felt. I got to talk with my friends and colleagues and be my true self, and that's when I knew I need to take this transition seriously. If I could actually feel this good and be myself and be around the people I care about and be accepted, that's what I want. And that's when I really decided that I need to do this. But